Alright guys, for this practice question, it says you'll be serving 75 3-ounce portions of avocado for a party you are catering. The yield percent of avocado is 75%. How many pounds of avocado should you order? So like I told y'all in class, always circle, I'll put it in a square like I do, the important information in the question. So the important information is that there's 75 servings, 3-ounce portions, and the yield percent of avocado is 75%. So like I told y'all in class, you take the important information and I always list it. So 75 servings, there's a 3-ounce portion, and then a 75% yield. And here's the formula we're using. As purchased quantity equals edible portion over percent yield as a decimal. So the first step is to take our 75 servings and multiply it by 3 ounces, and that's going to give us our total. So 225 ounces. And then we need to convert this to pounds. So in order to do that, we take 225 ounces, we divide that into 16 ounces because we know there's 16 ounces in a pound. And so our ounces cancel each other out, and that gives us 14.0625. So now we take our 14.0625 pounds and plug it in to our formula. So we take 14.0625 and divide that into our percent yield, which is 75. So by 0.75, and that gives us our answer of 18.75 pounds. But remember, when we're ordering this, our as purchased quantity, we're going to round this up to the next pound. So that gives us 19 pounds. So our next practice question is, you want to serve a 4-ounce portion of eggplant to each guest. Is it correct to predict that with 12 eggplants, you will be able to serve 60 guests? Eggplants typically weigh 1.25 pounds each and have an 81% yield. If this is incorrect, explain why and calculate the correct answer. So the first step is to circle all of the important information. 4-ounce portions, 12 eggplants that weigh 1.25 pounds each. We're serving 60 guests, and there's an 81% yield. And once again, I always write this over here in the corner so I can easily spot it. So the formula we're using here is edible portion quantity equals as purchased times the yield percent as a decimal. So the first step is we need to know how much we purchased as purchased. So we take our 12 eggplants and we're going to multiply that by 1.25 pounds, and that's going to give us our total pounds that we purchased. And that answer is 15 pounds. So we can take that 15 pounds and plug it into our formula. So 15 pounds times our yield percent of 0.81 gives us 12.15 pounds edible portion. So to see the number of servings that we have with this 12.15 pounds of edible portion, we need to plug it into this formula. So the number of servings formula equals edible portion quantity divided by the portion size. So our edible portion quantity is 12.15 pounds, and we're going to divide that into 0.25 pounds. And we got that 0.25 by taking our 4 ounces and dividing that into 16, and that's 0.25 of a pound. So our answer is going to be 48.6 servings. So we now know that this is not enough to serve our 60 guests. We are short. So our next practice question states, for a banquet of 480 people, you are to prep broccoli in portions of 2.5 ounces. You obtain 30 pounds of clean broccoli. How much broccoli must you purchase to complete the prep for the banquet if the yield percent is 61%? So as you can see, I've already circled all the important information in red, and I've wrote it here in the corner. So there's 480 people. We have 2.5 ounce servings. 30 pounds have already been purchased, cleaned, and then our broccoli that we're going to purchase has a 61% yield. So the first step is we need to know how many ounces we need total to feed the 480 people. So to do that, we take 480, multiply it by the 2.5 ounces we're serving each person, and then that gives us 1,200 ounces needed. So the next step is to figure out how much we have. So we multiply the 30 pounds that we have of clean broccoli times 16 ounces to convert it into ounces to match our 1,200. So then that gives us 480 ounces. So to calculate how much we need, we have to subtract 480 from 1,200, which gives us 720 ounces needed. So the next step is to convert the 720 ounces that we need into pounds. So you divide 720 ounces into 16 ounces because there's 16 ounces in a pound, and then that gives us 45 pounds. So once we get this number, we can plug it into our formula for AP quantity. So our as purchased quantity equals our edible portion divided by the percent yield. So we can plug in 45 pounds and divide that by a percent yield of 61%, so 0.61. And that answer gives us 73.77 pounds. So we need 74 pounds because we have to round up whenever we're purchasing. So here's our answer, 74 pounds. So for this practice question, it says, Chef Brandy is serving cobbler to 140 guests at a party she is catering. Each cobbler serves 20 guests and requires 12 pounds of pitted, peeled, and sliced peaches. Peaches have a 76% yield. How many pounds of peaches should you order? So our important information is that we're serving 140 guests. Each cobbler serves 20 guests. There's a 76% yield, and each cobbler requires 12 pounds of pitted, peeled, and sliced peaches. So the first step is to figure out how many cobblers we need. So we take our 140 guests and divide it by 20, and that gives us 7 cobblers needed. So the formula we're going to be using is as purchased quantity equals edible portion divided by percent yield. So now all we have to do is plug in our numbers into our formula. So we take our 12 pounds of pitted, peeled, sliced peaches because that's our edible portion. We're dividing it by the percent yield, which we know is 76. So 12 pounds divided by 0.76 gives you 15.789 pounds of as purchased. So the next step is to take that and multiply it by the 7 cobblers needed. And then that gives us 110. .5 pounds. So we need to order 111 pounds because we are always going to round up to the nearest pound when ordering. So So here's our answer, 111 pounds. So for this practice question, it says you go to an apple orchard and pick up a case of Braeburn apples. The case contains 40 pounds of apples. You are making apple tarts that each contain 9 ounces of diced apples. Apples have a 76% yield. How many tarts can you make from the case? So once again, I've taken the important information, I've circled it in red, and I've written it over here in the corner. So 40 pounds of apples per case, 9 ounces per tart, and then 76% yield. So the first formula we're using is edible portion quantity equals as purchased times percent yield. So all we're doing is plugging in our numbers. Our as purchased amount is 40 pounds. So 40 pounds times our 76% yield. So 70.76. And then that gives us 30.4 pounds edible portion. So now we're going to figure out the number of servings through the formula number of servings equals edible portion divided by portion size. So we're going to take this 30.4 pounds of edible portion quantity and plug that into the top of our formula, 30.4. And then our portion size is going to be 0.5625 pounds. And we got the 0.5625 by taking 9 ounces and dividing that into 16. So 9 divided by 16, because there's 16 ounces in a pound, gives us that 0.5625. So once we divide 30.4 into 0.5625, that gives us 54. So we can make 54 tarts from the case.